All right, y'all, welcome back to Combat Arms channel. Okay, so you guys might expect something like this to be on the Shorts channel because that's where I post most of the gun stuff. But I really wanted to put this on the main channel because there was a series I did previously where I was comparing like the cheapest sort of military stuff on Amazon to stuff that you would get issued in the military or stuff that military people would use. Now, I want to take that to another level and just compare an entire sort of loadout with the cheapest loadout that I could actually make on Amazon. So I don't know what the total cost was. I'll be honest, I don't think it was more than 300, but I'll put the total up here. And as we go over each item, I'll sort of explain how much each one was and compare it to kind of what you would see military people sort of rocking. Now, in those videos I did previously, I was just comparing one item, but now, yeah, it's going to be multiple items. So we're gonna have to run it through its paces. Now, the way I'm going to do that is one sort of like a movement drill. And then of course I'm gonna do some gun drills. And on top of that, I don't just have like a loadout, I also have a cheap optic. So I don't know, this thing was like probably $25 or something. So I'm gonna be switching out to the optic I have now on my rifle with this thing. Now I gotta say, I've already looked through this, and with how blurry this optic is, I can tell this is gonna be a fun time. So yeah, we're gonna be doing some moving, we're gonna be doing some shooting. I might just do some position drills, like getting in the prone, getting in the knee, sort of switching in and out of positions, because that'll kind of show the, I guess, flexibility of the actual loadout. But first, I'm gonna do everything with my normal army kits because that's what I'm most used to. Obviously, I don't wanna be switching from this to that and kind of doing each thing at the same time. So I'm gonna go through everything first with the army kit, and then I'll record everything with that kit, and I'll sort of explain how it feels. This is gonna be very familiar to me, so things might pop out with that cheap kit that I wasn't really expecting. Now, I will say I'm definitely going to be a little bit biased with this because I'm a big proponent of quality gear, definitely trying to save up and spend a little bit more on something that'll last a little bit longer or have the right features, because it'll be dependable and you can count on it, as opposed to some of this stuff. I've tried using cheap gear, even like when I was in the military, using stuff like Condor, and it's not reliable. It falls apart at the worst times. I got a Condor plate carrier one time and I did one recce movement, one, reconnaissance, and that thing was already falling apart, like threads getting loose, and you don't want to have threads getting loose to the point where your magazines aren't even getting retained and stuff like that. So I'm a big proponent of quality, and I sort of add my inputs from what I've noticed just in the service with kind of what we're seeing here. All right, and our test rifle is going to be a Colt AR-15 A4. So this is a very military, a very mil-spec kind of rifle. So we do have a Vortex UH-1 on there. Pretty solid holographic sights. Compared to other things, I wouldn't really choose it over those other options, but it's definitely a high quality optic. Now, it wasn't on any of my other rifles. It wasn't zero to anything specifically, so that's why I figured it was just okay to use it for this test. Run it through its paces. I think it's definitely gonna do pretty well, especially with this loadout. This is a very smooth shooting rifle, so we shouldn't have any issues, and it just looks cool. I haven't shot this one in a while, so I kind of just wanted to shoot it. Okay, now before we get into the test, I'm going to do a side-by-side, sort of comparing each sort of item, and yeah, we'll go over the prices as well. Okay, now starting with the helmet. So we have the Team Wendy X-Fill Ballistic. This is a helmet that you'll see a lot of military and police rocking. It's a solid helmet, it works really well, it's lightweight, and it looks like pretty unique. It looks kind of cool. So big fan of the Team Wendy, and yeah, these are gonna run you about $1,200. Now, the night vision is not included, neither is the mount, but I kind of just threw those on to make it more expensive because this is a very military loadout. This is stuff you'll see military guys rocking because, I mean, I guess I'm one of them. So yeah, Peltors, these are going to run you probably around $700. The adapters as well are going to be a little bit more. Now, the night vision mount is going to be about $400, $500. And then the night vision itself is going to be about $3,500. Now, the nice thing about being in the military is you don't have to pay for a lot of this stuff. Night vision is going to get issued to you. The hearing protection will usually get issued to you, especially if you're going on a deployment. And you're certainly going to get a ballistic helmet. Now, you can invest in your own stuff, but yeah, a lot of this stuff will definitely get issued to you in one form or another. All right, now going down to the torso. So we have a Crye G4 combat top. Now, combat tops are definitely going to get issued to you. Might not necessarily be a Crye G4. It might be like a Crye G3 or Patagonia, or even like a service-specific sort of combat top. Now, this is a newer generation, so it's going to be a little bit more expensive. So these will run you, I think, probably around $230, I believe, for the combat top. Gloves, definitely going to be something you get issued, but people almost always purchase their own gloves because the issued ones just aren't that great. These actually weren't too crazy. These were probably about $25, $30. Mechanics gloves are pretty reliable. Like they'll take a beating, to be honest, and a lot of people swear by them. Now, plate carrier, definitely something you're going to get issued, not necessarily this specific one. There's a bunch of different models you'll see people, at least in the Army, rocking, but a plate carrier is definitely going to get issued to you. Honestly, some of the issued ones probably are more expensive than the one I have now, but yeah, that's just because they have a lot more like padding and because it's a government contract, so why not? So this plate carrier specifically is going to run you about $250, I believe, from Agilite. Magazine pouches, they're a whole nother thing. It's probably going to be like $70 right here. And then a backpack is definitely something you're going to want to rock in the military, just to have that. It's going to look like a bunch of different things. This is just a convenient one, but we're not going to price that because we don't really have that with the other kit. So basically that's how it sits with the torso area. So yeah, you definitely want some quality stuff because this is your money maker right here. People say it's this. I mean, it kind of is, but yeah, in the military, this is stuff that you definitely want to protect and take care of. All right, going a little bit lower, we have the belt. Now, a nice sturdy belt is definitely going to be a lifesaver because you can chuck a lot of stuff on there and it's not going to be like sagging or getting too, you know, too cumbersome. So this belt specifically was about $150 with the belt and the inner belt. And then this holster was about $80 by itself. So yeah, it is definitely something you're going to want to keep nice and tidy, because if you have something that's kind of just all over the place, it's not going to be a fun time. Now, pistol magazine pouches, these were about probably $50. Definitely want some solid ones. You don't want to be like fighting it or having all these flappy pouches where it's not really retaining it that well. And yeah, you have some other pouches here. We have the dump pouch and the IFAK, the first aid kit, but that's basically what the belt setup is going to look like. Okay, and now we have the legs. So these are also Cry G4s. These are some great combat pants. I'll say that. The built-in knee pads is, again, it's a game changer compared to like just rocking knee pads over your stuff and it just sliding down. These are really convenient. So you definitely want to have some knee pads, especially for a terrain like this, so you can just get down in a knee and not have to worry about, you know, blowing your knee out or something. Now, shoes, there's a lot of personal preference. People usually rock, you know, in the military, you'll have issued combat boots, but you can also rock like Merrells or Salomon's. Just some generally like reliable hiking shoes is what you want, because yeah, you're going to be hiking a lot in the military. You're going to be moving with a lot of weights and you're going to be moving on terrain like this. So you want to be able to be maneuverable and not be feeling all these rocks and not be twisting your ankle. So getting a nice supportive shoe is definitely going to be a game changer, but also one that doesn't completely blister your feet after like 3 miles. All right, so here we go. Starting with the helmet. I gotta say, everything looks pretty cool, pretty high speed, but yeah, it doesn't feel that high speed. I'll just go ahead and say that right now. So I got this helmet, I think it was like 35 bucks. Goggles were like 17, and the balaclava was like $5. Just kind of added to the aesthetic. Now I will say this helmet is, it's just a bump helmet, so it's just really cheap, like ABS plastic or something. But yeah, it is huge, and the pads aren't really that thick, so like this thing is moving around a lot. I even double padded it in some spots. So I don't know who this helmet was made for, but it's massive. Now we have some goggles. The goggles are cool. Definitely makes you look like an airsofter when you throw them down, and they instantly fog up. Like just from that, I mean, the balaclava doesn't help, but it was like instantly fogging up. And I don't really tend to like these goggles. They're good for, you know, fast roping, I guess, things like that. Otherwise, yeah, definitely don't use this as your main eye pro. But yeah, the balaclava is just some thin material, so nothing too crazy there. Now real quick, I'll show that optic again. So I forgot how much the optic was. I think it was like $25 or something. Nothing too crazy. And again, it's not very bright. It's at its max setting right now, and it's not even that sunny. So yeah, if it was actually sunny, you would not be seeing this thing at all. But yeah, we have the this is basically the torso shot. So we have the plate carrier. I gotta say, I have plates in it, but those plates are definitely going to be moving around a lot because they're not really too tight Like I'm guessing this will just accommodate up to like extra large plates, because my medium plates don't really fill up that much of it, to be honest. But I mean, it's got everything you would need. It's got magazine pouches. It's got like a little admin pouch here. It's got like these quick detached kind of clips. And then you have like the cummerbund set up over here with some like radio pouch. It actually came with like 2 of these radio pouches, but yeah, I mean, it's not bad, and it does hold plates. So there's that. As far as the longevity, I don't really know. I mean, again, it looks cool. So if you're trying to get it for a prop, that's awesome. But I can tell, looking at the threads, it's not going to last too long. I already had some threads that were coming loose, but for what it is and for how much it was, I think it was like 40 bucks, just around $40. Really not too bad, to be honest. So I'm kind of impressed with it. The belt's a little less impressive, but you know, again, the belt was, I think it was probably around $30 as well. Not bad. It came with a lot of pouches, which is kind of surprising, because you can get these pouches individually, and some people try and sell them for like $10. Holster, not spectacular. I mean, it is like a nylon holster, so nothing too crazy. I got the Beretta. It's got like the pull the dot retention, and it's really not too secure either. But yeah, there's no inner belt. It kind of just, you size it, and then that's it. It just, you know, stays on you. You got some pistol magazine pouches, which again, you got the pull the dot and the Velcro combination, kind of like a cheap cop duty belt or something. Little admin pouch here, maybe for like not even handcuffs. I don't even know what you'd use that for. But that's basically the belt. I mean, there's really nothing to it. I mean, it's sized appropriately, so I don't think it's going to be going anywhere, to be honest. And I mean, if you do need to take it off, you can just take it off. But yeah, it's not going to be holding up your pants as well. There's no inner outer belt set up. So I mean, yeah, for the price, it's not horrible. It's really not horrible. You get some pretty decent value, but again, compared to something that you want to rely on to, you know, save your life, might not be this, especially the holster. That's kind of my biggest gripe, is that holster is yeah, not too spectacular. Yeah, so the pants, you guys might have seen this in another video I did, but yeah, these do not have as much movement by far as the Cries. I mean, you can get kind of wide, but this is it. This is where you start hearing like the threads start popping. And yeah, as far as like moving your foot up, it doesn't really get much further than like that. So, I mean, you're not going to be like karate kicking someone or anything, but yeah, getting it to a knee, I'm really feeling the restriction right here. I'm really like, I feel like I'm about to tear my shorts, which, I mean, it's nice when it's a long field exercise and you want to get some airflow, but yeah, it's not so nice when you're trying to wear it for a long time or be walking around the public with a giant rip right there. But it does have the built-in knee pads. It's got some pockets. The pockets are virtually useless, especially these are like this deep, but it is combat pants. The built-in knee pads is pretty much the biggest thing. But these were probably like $30, $35 as well. So these boots, I gotta say, these were, I think, like $40. I'll put like the actual prices and whatnot, but yeah, these are actually kind of comfortable. I mean, the materials aren't great, so I'm not sure how long it'll last, but I mean, it's pretty comfortable. It's got like a zipper on the side as well right here. So, I mean, I'm not really sure what those are used for, to be honest, besides just peeling them off of your feet. But yeah, I guess if you want to ventilate your feet, I don't know, you guys might know gear better than I do. I've never personally wanted boots with zippers like this, and I just don't see the need personally. But if you guys have some experience, definitely let me know. But yeah, they feel pretty comfortable. I think I should be able to move pretty well in them, to be honest. There's really nothing more humiliating than wearing this kind of stuff when somebody's driving past you in a spot where people actually shoot and whatnot. Hey, but I'm rocking it, so I'll take it. They probably thought I was really, really high speed for a second until they started getting a little bit closer, and then they're like, okay, never mind, don't worry. It's just an airsofter. He got lost. Okay, but yeah, the combat top, you guys might have seen this in a previous video, but yeah, it's just a cheap combat top. It does its purpose. I mean, It has a nice stretchy material on the inside, which is nice. Doesn't retain too much heat. It's relatively flexible. I mean, I don't have any issues. It's pretty solid. It's just a little bit scratchy, and the quality, again, is not going to be spectacular. But yeah, it was about a $35 combat top. Does its job pretty well, and it does add a little bit of the cool factor when your stuff kind of like matches really close to each other. Like we've seen it with the Dutch DSI with the gray on gray. Man, those guys are super aesthetic. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to test out this kit specifically with first just getting into some positions. So we're going to get into a knee. From there, we're going to go into the standing. We're going to get into the prone, get back to a knee, and then get back to the standing, and sort of see how that works. And we'll kind of move around in each position to see how it feels. Okay, so first thing, the knee. Again, the knee pads, the pants are really going to be coming into play here, and also the belt, because if you have a good belt, it's not going to get in the way. So getting into the knee is very natural. A lot of people take, you know, a knee kind of differently. With a pistol, you can do 2 knees. So yeah, you can kind of try all these different positions, but generally speaking, if you can get into a good knee, then you will be all right. So right now, I'm not really feeling any discomfort. I can tell I'm not really fighting my kit to get into the position. So yeah, so far everything works really well. Now from here, I'm gonna get into the prone, and then we're gonna go into the knee, which is kind of how you would do it. You won't generally go from the prone to the standing unless you're like doing buddy rushes or something. All right, so the prone. All right, so the biggest thing with this right now, hopefully my mic isn't getting like super messed up, but the biggest thing with this is your plate carrier is definitely going to be pushing up against you. If you have a really loose plate carrier, or if you have a lot of layers to the front, then you're gonna be really, really high off of the ground, and it's gonna be really hard to get behind anything. So with this one, I can feel I'm definitely off the ground. I can get pretty low, but if you have things like these dangler pouches, they do have the potential of sort of falling forward and adding a little bit of bulk. So sometimes you might have to just tuck that down so you can get a little bit lower. But yeah, that's something that I was feeling. And again, this is why you need to test your gear. So getting to the knee, I mean, I kind of just did it right there without even realizing it, but getting into the knee was totally fine. So getting to the prone right now, I'm feeling it a little bit on my elbows just because of this terrain. Now you guys already know I hate elbow pads, so I'm totally okay with having a little bit of discomfort in my elbows. Now your helmet is also going to play a factor. You need your helmet to be balanced, or else it's going to be sagging a lot to the front, or you're going to be fighting it with your body armor, which is also something that comes into play when you have like a backpack on. Because if you have a lot of stuff in the back, you can't actually get your head too far back, and it's going to be really, really annoying to try and fight your body armor when you're trying to just look up. So with this one, I can look around, I can look up, I can slide in. My helmet's not hitting my optic or anything. But when you're in the prone, your priority is going to be getting into cover. So you want to be low, and I can tell I'm getting pretty low. And my body armor is going to set where I want it to when I get back up. So I can tell it's going to go back to its normal position when I get up, because it's really fit and it's secure. And that's kind of another thing with quality gear, is it secures itself very well. With cheaper stuff, not necessarily. It might be moving around, shifting, and that's not something you want. Okay, prone, getting to the knee, sort of reassessing, and then getting to the standing. So yeah, I can tell the gear definitely works because I've used this gear a few times, but there are some things to consider. These dangler pouches, especially when you're getting to the prone, I generally don't train so much to get into the prone. It's definitely something that you need to do out of necessity sometimes. So sometimes you kind of just have to suck it up. And I think it's worth it to have this, but definitely something to consider. You don't want to have too much stuff in this to the point where if you go prone and it kind of like jams up like that, it's going to be a hard time for you. I got to say, all this movement and whatnot, especially with this rifle, is really bringing me back to my Marine Corps days. So yeah, kit works pretty well as far as the positioning. All right, so moving on to those positioning drills. So again, we're gonna try the knee and the prone, and we'll see how it feels. I think we're gonna be fighting the lack of stretchiness right here the most, but let's try it out. Okay, feels pretty good. I'll say there's not as much padding in the knee pad, so I'm feeling it a little bit more, but still not too bad. Okay. All right, not bad. All right, let's try the prone. So I can definitely get lower because I don't have any magazines or like the dangler attached right now. But my helmet, I'm fighting that a little bit because of how big it is. I can't see as much in front of me, which is not a good time. When you see like privates and whatnot, like pushing their helmets up like this, it's just because it's not really compatible with your armor, or it's just a little bit too big. But yeah, I can get pretty low. And getting up doesn't feel too bad. Right? Yeah, not gonna lie. Everything feels pretty good. I'm not like fighting it too much. Again, this was the biggest thing. I will say even with plates in, I can get super low just because I don't have anything else in, but it is very light. Gloves feel pretty good. Definitely feel like I'm retaining a little bit more heat because they just have a bunch of like unnecessary stuff, like these knuckles, which are like really popular for a lot, and these air holes, I don't even know what they are. But yeah, I guess, or pads. I don't know. A lot of this stuff was really popular early in like, I don't know, 2010, but not so much anymore. That kind of went away. I don't really see the utility, and it just feels like it's retaining a lot of heat. But other than that, yeah, gloves feel pretty good. Boots feel pretty good. Pants, a little restrictive, not as much padding, but not too bad. And the vest and the combat top, not bad. And the balaclava and the helmet setup is actually not too annoying, but it is definitely still way too big of a helmet. All right, so the first thing we are going to test is the reload ability. So what I'm going to do, I have the target set up. I'm going to shoot 2, reload, shoot 2, reload, and then shoot 2 more. So we'll see how the kit actually works when it comes to those sort of manipulations, because a speed reload is definitely important, something you want to lock down. Now I'm only going to do this 2 times, so I'm going to run this drill once, I'm going to do it again with this kit, and I'm going to do it 2 times with the other kit, just so we can see the consistency. But I'm not going to edit anything out. If I mess up, then I mess up, and that's just either training or gear. So yeah, let's do it. I'm going to be focusing more on the speed of the reload, not so much the speed of the shooting, but I'll try and get both of them in there. I missed the last shot, but it is all right. So yeah, it felt pretty natural. I'm definitely used to this setup. Normally now I rock my magazines down here for the speed reloads because it's just a little bit easier, but you can tell you can get pretty quick with this setup as well. Now in the Marine Corps and even in the Army for a bit, I had the magazine pouches with the flap. So once you get good at defeating the flap and getting the magazine out, you can get pretty good with these as well. All right, we'll do it one more time with this loadout. Okay. Got one in the chamber, so let's just send it. Oh. All right, a little bit slower for sure, but yeah, we got there. I noticed that the second time, I think I was having a little bit of trouble with this magazine. I'm not sure if I just really stuffed it down in there, or if like the sling was in the way or something, but something I noticed. These Kydex magazine pouches are great, but you definitely need to loosen them up quite a bit so you can get kind of a nice reliable draw without it getting too sticky. And I think these are pretty broken in, so no real excuses, I was just being slow. All right, now same thing, but with the pistol. So I'm going to draw, shoot 2, reload, shoot 2, reload, shoot 2. Now, I will say the target's still at like 50, it's not like at 40 yards, so the shooting might be a little bit slow just to make sure I'm being accurate. And I will also say I don't have my thigh strap, which I normally do, so the holster might actually trip me up a bit. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and do it. Again, 6 rounds with 2 reloads, so let's try it. Damn it. Okay, well I missed 2 rounds, but wasn't bad. The reloads were good. Something I noticed is I don't shoot pistol with gloves too often. So I was like, oh, this feels kind of gross. Like I can't feel everything like I normally do. All right, so we'll try that one more time. Hopefully my shots are a little bit more accurate, but the dude's kind of far out there, you know? All right, so I tightened the gloves. Hopefully that helps a little bit with dexterity, but I should be focusing the most on accuracy right now. All right, let's do it. I missed the last one, but that's all right. Okay, so not bad. I think what I'm fighting the most right now, especially with the pistol, is the gloves and the iPro. iPro is always something that's gonna be a freaking pain in the butt for you if you're doing anything like this, because you'll be feeling confident, you'll have broken the rust at that point, and then when you're about to get it, your glasses or your goggles start fogging up, and then there that goes. But yeah, gloves, they felt pretty good. I'm used to these gloves as well. Now, dexterity is one thing as far as like how flexible it is, but also how you can feel things, because with the pistol, if I don't have like a glove on, I can feel the trigger a lot better. I can almost feel the recoil impulse a bit better. I can feel my grip a little bit better as well. So you can really focus on the fundamentals when you can feel the pistol a little bit better. But with gloves, something to consider is the flexibility, but also how well you can actually feel everything. But yeah, we're gonna do a moving drill. So we're going to incorporate the rifle and the pistol and a reload for both, and also moving. So should be a doozy. I'm excited to see how I can do, because again, I haven't really broken the rush so much today. So hopefully we can do pretty well, not embarrass myself too much. All right, so we got the targets and the cone set up. So what I'm going to do is start with the rifle. I'm gonna shoot one, move to the next cone as fast as I can, shoot another, reload. From there, I'm gonna be walking and shooting to the next cone. And then at that cone, I'll transition, and then I'll do the same thing. I'll run to the next cone, shoot, reload, walk and shoot, and then get to the last cone. So yeah, probably won't remember that, but you can kind of just see what I'm doing. And we are going to be doing this one time and one time only. So try and make it count. Let's do it. Okay, not bad. I missed one of those pistol shots, but don't worry about that little guy. All right, so felt pretty good. Again, the combat pants, combat top especially help with heat retention, so I'm not like dying too much right now. I'm still dying, but not as much. And with that, you get the flexibility and the maneuverability, which is clutch. Especially when you're already wearing a lot of stuff like armor, that stuff is already going to be impeding your movement. So having a nice combat top and combat pants that, you know, don't assist with that is kind of nice. So yeah, good flexibility, good mobility. My gear was staying in the same place, which was really helpful, especially for the reloads, especially for the pistol reload, because my belt wasn't moving around too much. That was pretty much exactly where I needed it to be. If anything, the rifle was getting in the way, so I had to like push it back even further and get it out. But yeah, this thing is basically like a sniper rifle, so yeah, kind of hard to do sometimes. But yeah, getting it out of the way, reloads were good, everything felt pretty good. Again, the fogging of the iPro is gonna get to you. That's definitely a big thing that usually gets to me. So yeah, if you guys have an idea, or if you're trying to invent some anti-fog stuff, I will definitely invest in that. Okay, but now we are moving on to the other kit, so should be interesting. And I'll also caveat by saying the drill didn't make much sense. If the rifle goes down and I have a pistol I can switch to, it's gonna be a little bit quicker and it'll still be effective at this range. But yeah, it was just for the drill, okay? All right, so same kind of thing. I'm going to shoot two, reload, shoot two, reload, and then shoot two more. Now, I will say, as far as the headache factor, this optic was not very fun to zero. I'll just say that much. But I think it's good now. Again, we're just going to be focusing more on the reloads, which are going to be interesting now with the flat, but we'll see how we do. Okay, missed one, but honestly, This optic kind of points really well. It's not too sunny, so I can still barely see it. But yeah, not gonna lie, it feels pretty nice. Having this big open window is actually kind of convenient. It doesn't obscure your sight, so it's really easy to acquire the target and get the red dot on it. But yeah, I'm really fighting these flaps, so we'll do that again one more time. But honestly, not too bad. I think the shooting is definitely quicker. Reloads, not so much. Oh, I noticed I forgot my handy dandy iPro, which is instantly fogging up. So yeah, it'll make this more interesting, I guess. Let's try it. Well, I can't see anything. Okay, not bad. I can't see the camera so much right now, but yeah, the reloads aren't bad. Yeah, this flap is definitely annoying. It's a little bit stiff too, so when I get it up, it just happens to chill there. So it wants to keep going down, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. Yeah, this is why I don't have magazine pouches with the flap anymore. They're not really necessary for retention if you have some good like Kydex inserts and whatnot. These pouches have the elastic, so it'll retain the magazine pretty well. So our Marine Corps magazine pouches were like exactly like this. So we would just tuck in the flap like that and then put the magazine in, and it wasn't really as much of an issue. Sometimes the flap would come out, but yeah, it wasn't as much of an issue. So okay, not bad. All right, now we're gonna try the pistol, which is gonna be it's gonna be a struggle. So I'll be honest, these magazine pouches don't really fit my magazines that well, and these are just Beretta magazines. So if you have like the 21 round Sig mags, yeah, you're basically gonna have no retention. Definitely putting that on double action though, because I feel like I'm gonna be fumbling with that quite a bit. All right, iPro on. Oh, instant fogging. Okay, that's good. All right, well, let's try it. Oh, those are just shots. Okay, well, I was shooting horrible. Yeah, the big thing with the pistol is you really need to focus on the sight alignment in your sight picture and making sure you're focusing on the front sight. But with the fogging up, you can't focus on a whole lot. But reloads weren't too bad, okay? Again, I'm not on full retention because it doesn't fit, but it wasn't bad, so let's try it one more time. I can't stress enough how much I dislike this holster, but we'll make it work. All right. Okay. Put on my blinders. Let's do it. Whoa. Okay, we got it. Okay, a little bit better. These actually didn't fog up too much for whatever reason. Okay, reloads aren't bad. So would you really trust your life with these magazine pouches? Probably not, because you'll try and reload and realize your ammo is not there. All right, so we'll do this last drill. Should be interesting. Again, we're gonna do it one time, and yeah, I don't know. I definitely am going to struggle with the pistol the most as far as just trying to like get everything out to where I need it to be. But the rifle I think should be all right. So let's do it.
Bruh. honestly, not too bad. I mean, we lost the pistol magazine for a little bit just because like I tried to grab it and it just launched out of the pouch because of, yeah, there wasn't really anything holding it too firm into the pouch. So I think I just hit it and it fell out. But yeah, honestly, not too bad. The rifle reload was actually pretty decent. I didn't really fumble that up too much, but yeah, movement wise, I gotta say, I just felt super light because I don't have any of like my actual like normal military stuff in like I do in my actual plate carrier. So I felt super light. So I imagine the speed is definitely going to help with the time. I think that was probably faster. The shots weren't as good, I don't think, but yeah, it wasn't bad, not gonna lie. So I mean, for airsoft, if I was rocking this in airsoft, I feel pretty good. The helmet, the balaclava would not be a thing, but the helmet, yeah, I probably wouldn't use that helmet just because it's not fantastic. It moves around a lot, but everything else works okay. I mean, if I was like trying to find some gear on a budget, this would serve its purpose. It would serve a purpose for a decent amount of time until it starts breaking down. But yeah, honestly, I'm pretty impressed. All right, so closing out this video. All right, you guys know I'm a big proponent of quality gear, so I definitely prefer that just for the longevity and just so I know I can rely on it. But this gear, it's fun. It serves a purpose for a certain amount of time. If you're doing things like, I wouldn't even say airsoft because honestly I've played airsoft and you can go pretty hard in airsoft, but it serves a purpose for certain things. Like me, if I'm using it for props, then yeah, it's cool. It looks like it looks like military gear, so it serves that purpose. Again, it wasn't the best comparison with each item because the helmet was a bump helmet. The eye pro was goggles. I had a balaclava on, so not necessarily the best comparison as far as those individual items, but seeing how everything kind of works together. Again, the biggest things I can feel right now is the heat retention is insane, and I'm feeling a little bit of hot spots as far as some chafing, just because again these materials aren't quite as nice. So I'm getting some chafing here with this plate carrier. I don't know if you guys can really see it, but there's like a sharp nylon edge right here that's like just rubbing my neck. And again, I think this is like poly cotton as opposed to like nylon and cotton blend, so it holds the heat a little bit more. And again, it's just a little bit scratchier, not as comfortable, but again, it serves a purpose. It was fun, especially this optic. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, but I can tell zeroing it was a pain in the butt. It lost its zero a little bit at the end, and I think there's already a small crack in it from something. I mean, when you get an optic that says survival land on it, then maybe consider getting a different optic, because I don't know what you're surviving with this thing. Maybe an airsoft game, maybe. But yeah, it was fun to try out. All of it worked together pretty well. Footwear was surprisingly nice. Combat top is pretty good for the most part. Pants, again, a little restrictive. The belts, honestly, I'm not feeling the belt at all. The belt is pretty solid. The pouches on them, not too great. The holster especially is just garbage. But yeah, if you had some magazines that actually fit in the pouch, that would be pretty sweet. But again, I can go on and on. It really comes down to a common sense thing, like you get what you pay for. But again, some of this stuff is really surprising. It is kind of cool to go back and get some of like the cheaper stuff and see how, like, you know, it functions. It functions relatively well in some circumstances. But yeah, it is cool, especially growing up playing airsoft, having airsoft gear and then going to like military grade stuff and then trying this again, doing the same kind of stuff. It's kind of cool to compare the two. But let me know what you guys think. If you guys want to see me trying to do anything else in this gear, let me know. I don't know, if there's like a shooting competition or something, like a Finished Brutality, showing up in like airsoft gear like this would be kind of fun, because I'd like to see what it looks like at the end. It would be like super beat up if it even lasts that long. But yeah, again, kind of surprised with a lot of the quality. Hopefully you guys were surprised as well. Let me know what you guys think. Before I end the video, I want to give a big thank you to the Patreon supporters and the channel members, because I was able to use that money to actually pay for this gear and pay for this video. So a big thank you to y'all. If y'all want some behind the scenes content or extra footage, you can check out the Patreon or the channel membership so you can get access to that. But I appreciate you guys just watching and supporting the channel. If you guys liked the video, hit the thumbs up. Just let me know what you think. If you have any other ideas, definitely throw them down below. But that is it for this video. I will see y'all in the next one.